Hi everyone, welcome to KFC SuperCoach's hot and cold segment, where we're going to look at some of the best trade options and the players you should be trading out in KFC SuperCoach after round 5. Let's start with the good and the players that are on the rise, and certainly one of those is Essendon defender Jordan Ridley. He's up to 460,000, a price rise of almost 50,000 after he scored 122 in a phenomenal performance against Collingwood on Friday night. Certainly wasn't the conditions that we thought would have been conducive to his particular type of scoring, considering that he bases a lot of his points on disposal efficiency, but he was super against the Magpies. And he's a leading target for many KFC super coaches now. He's got a 3-round average around about 115 and a break-even of only 11 heading into round 6. So certainly a top target if you weren't lucky enough to get him last week. Still only in about 15% of teams. Another player to consider is Brisbane Lion Hugh McCluggage. He's largely gone unheralded this season based on the fact that his teammate Lachie Neale is the Brownlow medal favourite and has been scoring ridiculous numbers in KFC Supercoach. But Hugh McCluggage has a 3-round average of 137, absolutely dominating up there in Queensland. He's now up to 580,000 as well. So that's a price rise of about 70,000 from his starting price and went up 45k on the weekend too. So he's in great touch, gathering plenty of disposals. He's really good by foot and also a goal kicker as well, as we've seen already this season. Could have kicked 5 a few weeks ago, so if he'd been on target. So playing some phenomenal footy at the moment, Hugh McCluggage, and he's someone that should be in consideration if you're looking to replace the injured Matthew Rowell. Finally, a player that is only in 25% of KFC Supercoach teams, somewhat surprisingly, Max Gawn, the Melbourne captain. Hasn't even been great since footy came back in round 2. He's got a 3-round average that is mind-blowing, 162.7. He was great again against Darcy Fort and Geelong. He's got 163, and his price went up by 34k. So you're now going to have to pay 742,000 or thereabouts to get Max Gawn into your Supercoach team. It's a big problem that is confronting plenty of Supercoaches. I'm in that boat as well, how to turn a player like Mark Pitney from Carlton into Max Gawn, about a $300,000 gap at the moment between those two. So a fair bit of trading to be done to try and get Max Gawn in, but certainly based on his current form, he should be one of your priorities. Now time to look at some of the players who've been struggling for a bit of form in the last 3 rounds in particular, and one of those is in my team, Port Adelaide young gun Conor Rose. Jumped by considerable cash after a great start to the season when he was averaging about 130 after 2 rounds. But in the last 3 rounds, his averages dipped considerably, only averaging 45.3 over that period. And he's dropped a lot in value as well over that time. So coaches are now going to need to be considering if he's going to be part of their finishing forward lines and whether you'll be moving him on based on whether you see him being there at the end of season 2020 or not. Certainly Port Adelaide still being some good footy, and those with Conor Rose in their teams will be hoping that he sees some of that more midfield time that we saw him play in the first couple of rounds of the season. Another whose price fell by about 30,000 on the weekend was Melbourne's Jack Viney, bought into many teams ahead of round 2, I should say, based on being a cash cow. He's got 186 in round 1, but hasn't lived up to those sort of numbers since. His best score is 91 in the past 3 rounds and only scored 60 against Richmond on the weekend, falling by about 30,000. So it's now a case of whether you want to trade out your rookies this week or whether you trade out Jack Viney based on the fact that he's probably going to lose some more money again. That's a big call for coaches to make ahead of round 6 in KFC Supercoach. And finally, Lachie Whitfield is a trade target for many coaches ahead of round 6, considering he's dropped to around the 440,000 mark. That's a great price for a player that most considered was an absolute certainty to finish as one of the top forwards of 2020. You've got to wonder whether that's going to be the case, though. He's only hit 100 once so far for the GWS Giants, despite the fact that he's winning a lot of footy. And one of the issues is it's so often been his strength, his disposal efficiency, but it just hasn't been there this year. He's going at about 61% disposal efficiency. So if he improves that, his scoring should improve, but certainly there's a question mark about whether he can turn those 85, 90s into 100s that'll see him slot into the top 6 forwards come the end of the season. So that's our Supercoach hot and cold ahead of round 6. Good luck with your trades.